Hey y'all, it's your girl Destiny, and we are back with another video. And as y'all can see, is this giving librarian? I feel like I'm on my librarian vibe, but that's really because we're going to be talking about books today. We're going to be talking about 3 personal development books that really helped me change my mindset. And I really want to talk about the power of reading, because reading really changed the person that I am today. Like, wholeheartedly, I give so much credit to books because they literally changed my life. So yeah, we got 3 personal development books that you should read if you're looking for a mindset shift. And I'm going to go into a little bit of the details about the book. And if y'all want me to go into deeper details on any of these books, let me know down in the comments. Although one of them, I already do plan to go a little bit deeper, but we can talk about that later. All right, so first book on the list is going to be Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. And I'm going to go ahead and show y'all that I actually I've actually read these books and annotated them, took notes, highlighted them, all that type of stuff all the way through. Because I do feel like people also do books about videos, or they tell you like, oh, you should read these books, and they've never even read the books. I feel like people do that a lot, so I just want you to know, I'm actually reading these books. I've read all of these books that I'm talking about today, all the way through. So this book was actually the first book that I read on my self-growth journey. At the time, I was just like really, really, really depressed. And I don't know, for some reason, God just told me to pick up this book. I was at Target, I saw this book, and I just picked it up. This is the first self-development book that I've ever read, and it completely changed my life, and it actually made me want to read more. Growing up, I hated reading. I always thought that I would never read if I didn't have to, and now I absolutely love reading. So yes, this book right here changed everything for me. Okay, so this book is broken up into 6 parts. Okay, so part 1 of this book talks a lot about the law of vibration. The law of vibration really just says that to receive what I wish to have, I must be in energetic harmony with what I desire. Okay, part 2 is all about positive lifestyle habits. So this can be like being around positive people, getting inspired, healthy habits in terms of like your eating habits and working out, taking care of your body physically. And it also talks about self-awareness. These are just some of the topics that part 2 talks about, and I would love to go deeper into detail, which I know we don't got time for that. Okay, so part 3 is all about prioritizing yourself. So this includes like having a good partner, having good friendships, how to deal with negative people, setting boundaries and how to set boundaries, toxic jobs, and even people pleasing. And this part of the book was so important for me because I am a recovering people pleaser. It was very toxic for me. It was really like taking over my entire life, and it was something that I had to get out of, and I feel like this book was like my first stepping stone in fixing that. Okay, so part 4 is all about accepting yourself. It's about appreciating your beauty, not comparing yourself to others, and valuing yourself in your uniqueness. Now, part 5 of the book is about manifesting your goals and doing like mind work. So it talks about the importance of positive thinking, having a positive mentality, a growth mindset, all those kind of things. It's also about changing your limiting beliefs, which is a practice that I did for a very long time, and it actually worked out for me very, very, very well. It talks about affirmations, setting intentions, being intentional, and they also go into goal setting. Okay, part 6 is all about taking action. So patience, consistency, procrastination, and having faith over fear. And then part 7 is all about pain and purpose. So they talk about the change that pain creates within people. It talks about your higher purpose and finding your higher purpose, which I'm super excited about. For anybody who reads that, I'm super excited for you to get to that part of the book, because y'all know I'm all about finding my purpose and all that good stuff. They talk about how lessons repeat themselves when you don't learn from them. They talk about money and greed, and lastly, how to achieve ultimate happiness. And this book was just so powerful. It literally took me out of my depression and made me look at life so much more differently, and realizing that whatever I put out to the world is going to come back to me in any way, shape, or form. And so when it came to like my negative thinking, I was depressed because of my negative thinking, because of my perception of the world, because of my perception of my life. And once I kind of switched that around and realizing that I would have to, if I wanted to attract anything more positive in my life, I was going to have to be more positive. And it really had me shift into like a positive mindset. So I think that the title of this book suits it so well. Good Vibes, Good Life. Because all you want to do is be putting out good vibes so that you can get good vibes back. Okay, so the second book that really helped change things for me is Untamed by Glennon Doyle. This book, and isn't it so pretty? It's crazy because I feel like the cover is actually what attracted me to this book. So yes. This book is a 10 out of 10. Granted, Good Vibes, Good Life is like a 9.5 out of 10. But maybe it's just because I'm comparing it to this book. This book is a 10 out of 10. This book basically just talks about how as a human society, we have been tamed. We have been indoctrinated. We have been trained to follow all of societal norms without even questioning them. She really, in this book, really talks about what it means to be a good girl and how women have been trained to want certain things. And that when we want more than what we've been trained to want, is seen as wrong. One of the most powerful things that I feel like she said in this book and that I carry with me, and that like sometimes whenever I tell people about this book, I have to say this thing, is live by your imagination, not your indoctrination. We should be creating things instead of just looking at the things that other people create. We need to trust ourselves, and whatever life we imagine for ourselves, we can go out there and create it no matter what anybody has to say about it. We need to trust our feelings, trust our thoughts, trust our dreams, trust that vision was not put in our heads for no reason. This book is so empowering. It'll make you want to go out and run for president. This book, if you need some empowerment, if you feeling like, what you want is impossible, like whatever the case, you should read this book. 10 out of 10 would recommend. All right, and the last book that I'm going to be talking about today is The Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. Now, I know this book is very, very, very popular, but for good reason. This book is very, very, very good. And so I'm going to give you a little... All my little bookmarks fell out. I actually used to have a book club, and we had those bookmarks made, and it was a whole thing. Okay, so this book really stuck out to me in the first chapter because he also was talking about the domestication of the human race and just kind of like the dream of the planet. And by the dream of the planet, I mean like the fact that the entire world is built up of people's dreams. They imagined something, they dreamed something, and they came out in the world and they built it. Streets, highways, houses, like anything that you could think of came out of somebody's head, besides nature, which is, this is God's earth. But besides nature and things like that, infrastructure and all that kind of stuff, all the creative things in this world was once in somebody's head and is now in reality. And that the things that are in our minds can be brought to reality too. That we have the power to do that. And then right after that, he goes into the 4 agreements. 1 is be impeccable with your word. 2 is don't take anything personally. 3 is don't make assumptions. And 4 is always do your best. Now, I literally have these 4 agreements written on a little sticky note, and I have it at my work desk, just like at the bottom of my computer, because I want to remind myself to do these things. I'll go a little bit into them, but like I said before, if you guys want me to do like a deep dive into any of these books, because maybe you don't want to buy it, maybe you don't want to read it, or whatever the case may be, just let me know down in the comments, and I will be more than happy to do that because I love talking about the books that I've read. Okay, so be impeccable with your word is more so, only use your word to spread love. Only use your word to be positive, because whatever you put out into the world is going to come right back into you. Stop with the gossiping. That's like number 1. And that was like my number 1 thing. I really, really, really did have a problem with gossiping. I'm not going to lie. Gossiping with my mama, gossiping with my sister, gossiping with my best friend. Like, I remember there was a time in my life where all I used to do was gossip. Like, okay, girl, that's not cute. It's really not cute. And really, there's no reason to gossip about anybody. There's no reason to be judging anybody. Like, who are we to judge? So yeah, be impeccable with your word. Only use your word to spread love. Don't take anything personally. And this one is to help you prevent any kind of unnecessary pain. Taking things and it's crazy because I just did a video on how to forgive people. And I really feel like this ties into this, because taking things personally, there's no reason to take anything personally. Because what someone does to you or how somebody treats you has absolutely nothing to do with you, but with them. Because someone who is truly happy, someone who truly has love in their hearts, doesn't want to do anything but spread love. So if somebody is hurting, they're going to spread hurt. And therefore, let them deal with that on their own. But don't Don't internalize it. Don't take that in. And the don't make assumptions is very, very similar, is another way to prevent any kind of unnecessary pain. Making assumptions, because 9 times out of 10, as human beings, we are going to assume the worst. That's just what we do. It's a survival mechanism to assume the worst so that we can prepare ourselves for the worst. So just don't even make assumptions. Learn how to ask questions. Ask questions. Just ask. And always doing your best. I feel like this is a way for you to have good self-esteem and to have a high level of self-love. Because if you always do your best, you can never judge yourself or come down on yourself harshly. When something doesn't turn out your way or when something doesn't come out right. Literally, your conclusion will be, at least I tried my best. And you know you genuinely tried your best. We only judge ourselves and make ourselves feel away when we know we didn't try our best at something. And I guess I didn't talk about the fact that he talks about like what an agreement actually is and how we form them. And an agreement is really just us agreeing with the fact that something is true. Like we made that agreement, like, oh, this is true. And so if there are any agreements that you have or limiting beliefs that you have that are, keeping you from being happy per se, then you need to kind of get rid of those old agreements. And he kind of goes into how you can do that. This book is also very, very, very powerful, very empowering. It just gives you a very different perspective just on the world in general. And it just makes you think to yourself like, dang, like there's a lot of things that I need to change in myself. That's what I kind of realized after reading this book. And so, yeah, I've adopted these 4 agreements, or at least I'm trying to. I'm not going to say I'm perfect because I'm not. I might, I'm not even going to say that. Yeah, I'm not perfect, but I do try to remind myself of these agreements, and I do try to follow them as best that I can. All right, that's all I got for y'all today. Like I said before, if you guys want me to go and do a deeper dive into any of these books, just let me know in the comments and I will be more than happy to. If you have any recommendations on any books that people can read that will help them change their mindsets, or if you have any recommendations just for me, because I love to read and I'm open to any books. If you have any books that you feel like really changed your mindset, that had a very positive impact on you, let me know actually, because I actually want to read them even if nobody else does. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.